Nick Farrow again with more of English Discovery. Now, in the first lesson, we talked about the verb to be, but now we're talking about all the other verbs. Let's first check the vocabulary, any difficult words you may need. Here, we're using examples to show the meaning, but if you still need to check your dictionary, please pause the video. Helping verbs are different from main verbs or general verbs. I hope these examples will help you understand. Be careful for be at the bottom. It can be a helping verb too. Some more words. The simple present tense. Here's an example. Simple past tense. Be careful for this one. We're talking about the grammar meaning of the word subject. And finally, similar. Okay, that's all the difficult words. So we're moving on from be to all the other verbs. But the question is still the same: how to build negative sentences and questions. Some of the points get more complicated in this video. First, the easy part. 5 example sentences. And you can see that number 1 and number 2 are the verb to be. And you can see the preposition at home and the adjective tired, as we learned before. Sentences 3, 4, and 5 are helping verbs: will, can, and have. And those helping verbs are helping the main verbs: leave, fly, and eat. Now you can see the negative forms of the same sentences, right? And where does not appear? There it is, every case. And it always appears after the first verb of the sentence. Of course, sentences 1 and 2 only have one verb, but it's still the first verb, right? So this rule about putting not after the first verb is good to remember. Here are the same sentences in a natural spoken style. Now we change to 5 yes-no type questions, because the answers are usually yes or no. And you will know that to make the question, we need to move the first verb in front of the subject. That's how they moved. Finally, these are all WH type questions. First, there's a yes-no question pattern plus WH word at the head of the sentence before the first verb. So until now we did the easy part, be or helping verbs, just like these two. Always the same. Always not appears after the first verb. And for questions, the first verb goes before the subject. But what about these two very simple sentences? And one more example, a little bit strange example. These are the simple present tense with one general verb only. Here are the verbs. But what about the negative and question forms? Do we see any verb to be, or do we see any helping verbs? No? If not, to create negatives and questions, we need to add the helping verb do. Let's see how this works. Okay, for negatives, with only the general verb, add do not before the verb. That's it. This becomes don't in conversation, right? And the pattern is now the same as the helping verbs we learned before. Now, let's look at yes-no type questions. Here's the question form, with the new helping verb do at the head of the sentence, in front of the subject they. And this pattern also is the same as with the helping verbs we saw before. The problem is that the do seems to come from nowhere, both in the question and the negative forms, and this point you have to remember. No verb to be, no helping verb, add do. Next is a WH type question. And again, the WH question word, why, appears at the head of the sentence. Here's one more point. All these patterns in the simple present tense work in exactly the same way in the simple past tense. That's a nice, easy point. Taking a regular, simple present tense sentence. If it has no be or helping verb, then to create a negative sentence, a yes-no question, or a WH question, we need to add that do helping verb. And so you will know that this pattern is no good. Why? Because it's a be plus main verb pattern, and that does not exist in English. Out. Okay, now this is not quite the end. Please just do one more short lesson to practice. And be sure that you know how to use these patterns every time. Also, there are two extra, rather crazy points that you need to learn about. Okay, thank you for watching. Please give a thumbs up if you like the video. And after taking a break, please do the next short video with the practice to give you greater communication power. See you soon.